If you see any sprats loose up here,
Don't let the guards hear you asking questions. Or peeking in the back. If you see any sprats loose up here...
Sorry, I shouldn't talk. Not without signing a waiver. You see any sprats loose up here? Don't let the guards hear you asking questions. Or peek in the back.
I think I'm gonna start taking my lunches out in the city. That woman from downstairs is still in the cafeteria.
That scientist? The one who's been hounding the clerks? Ooh, gives me the shudders, too.
They're all pretty unpleasant. What do you think they actually do down there?
Best not to ask. Remember that one clerk, Emily? She found a badge one of them had dropped and went down to return it. Never saw her again.
Muted unit moving to destination.
I'll be right there.
Not so fast. The Ministry of Accuracy and Morale is off limits to everyone without X-36 level clearance.
What level clearance?
Basically, if you don't work here, or for Chairman Rockwell himself, you're not getting in. I don't know how you got that, but I still don't know you, and I don't have any new clearances on the list.
Hey, did Tillman get transferred or something?
That's right. You weren't here when it happened. Some UDL officers took him into custody.
Oh, law, what did they take him for?
UDL's been questioning anybody with possible connections to Phineas Wells. And, well,
Sorry,
Tillman
I
designed all
shouldn't
those
talk.
wanted
Now
posters.
you're signing a waiver.
So UDL's interrogating Tillman? Ugh, that's disgusting. Can't believe I had lunch with the guy.
Got a promotion coming. I can feel it.
I hear about you ordering more tests performed with sample 4157. That fax failed. Would statistically insignificant mean anything to you?
Of course, but we're obligated to every possibility.
We're obligated to get a working formula before Akande has us all in.
Let the record show that the 23K.
Hey, you!
What was that?
Huh? What's that?
No visitors allowed, citizen. I'm going to need to see some identification. What? I don't need to see your identification. Move along.
Got your paperwork squared away?
Entering quiet mode.
I am a... You have a message from Adjutant Sophia Akande.
No one ever looks quite the same in person, and my reports of you have been exceptionally thorough. You have something I want. I'd like to negotiate. There's exactly one vessel in all of Byzantium that looks like it dropped out of an aetherwave drama. Phineas Wells is wanted by the board. He has a litany of charges against him. Vandalism, illegal experimentation, sedition. I could go on. Wells is a dangerous madman. You're in contact with Wells. I want you to send us a tracing signal from his communication terminal. You are making a serious mistake.
Adjutant Akande. We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are still in one piece. Shall I... Congratulations.
I've kept myself busy in your absence. All I need now is the dimethyl sulfoxide. I'll take... Human test subjects. Oh, that's grotesque. That's unthinkable. That's exactly what I'd expect out of the board. Thank you. You've brought me enough chemicals to get started, at least. Those poor people, they must have died in agony. What exactly was the board trying to accomplish? You say the board's trying to freeze their subjects over and over again without inflicting permanent damage? Something about this feels wrong. I'll tell you this much. The board scientists are hopelessly lost. After years of fruitless experimentation, I used to work for these people. I know. I've suspected as much for years. Of course, I don't expect the board's mismanagement put our colony on the road to collapse. If we don't put a stop to them, thousands of colonists are going to die. Hold on. Let me see if I understand this correctly. You're saying that Halcyon's on the brink of total collapse? And that I always knew Halcyon was heading toward a systems collapse, but I never imagined we were already there. But that's not a plan. Do you realize what this means for the Hope? For your fellow colonists? The board's going to kill them all. Toss... Short of lining up every member of the board and shooting them in the back of the head. Do you know what's waiting for us on the Hope? Scientists, engineers, artists, the brightest minds Earth ever sent us, uncorrupted by the Board. The Board's going to dispose of them all. We need to get to those colonists before the Board. I have enough chemicals to start reviving a few of them, but no easy way to get them off the Hope. All right, I've got it. We can't possibly take my lab and all my equipment to the Hope, yes? We bring the Hope to us. Skip the entire ship across the distance of colony space. Just wait until you hear the details. I haven't been this energized since the time I injected myself with raw cavanoid. If we link up the Hope to the Unreliable, then use your navigational computer to calculate a reasonably safe vector, we can skip the entire colony ship into the rings of Terra 2.
I don't understand a word you said, Doc. All I know is, if we're gonna hijack a colony ship, count me in.
Yes, excellent. I approve of your enthusiasm, young man.
Experimental methods for killing noxious life forms are not covered under this unit's limited liability agreement.
Well said. Whatever. You'll need to switch on the Hope's auxiliary power using the Unreliable. Then, once you've skipped the Hope next to my lab, I'll have easy access to the frozen colonists. Certainly. It wouldn't surprise me when skip drives were never designed to be used within a system, but that is, I ruined my ship and nearly killed myself in the process, but the maneuver was well within acceptable margins. Unlikely. The Hope is as massive as the Groundbreaker, but compared to the rings of Terra 2, positively minuscule. The Board might notice. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The Hope is carrying some of humanity's most brilliant thinkers. The Board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond saving. I choose to believe otherwise. Certainly. How can I...
If you stop in the engine room... We have arrived at the Hope. I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can convince her central computer to enable the skip drive. If your calculations are even slightly off, you could crash the entire colony ship into Terra 2, or the Sun. The Hope is the Groundbreaker's prettier, sleeker sister. Also, there are hundreds of thousands of frozen organic life forms hibernating. Forgetfulness can be an early warning sign of I need you to reroute power from our ship to the Hope's auxiliary. You'll have to connect me to the Hope's comm system so I can... If you don't mind my saying, Captain, Minister Clark is lucky to have you on his side. Captain, I hope Dr. Wells has not dragged you into one of... is erratic. Schemes again. My diagnosis of his mental stability is not flattering.
Power's out, Captain.
You know, when they posted us here, I told them there wasn't any point. Shows how much I know. You've got about 5 seconds to tell me what you're doing here before I make you take a walk outside. Explode? Holy shit. Alright. You'll want a uniform so my staff doesn't shoot you on sight. They're a dangerous mix of bored and trigger-happy. We've got a few extra in the old badge station to my right. Good luck. Quietly now.
This must be unsettling for you, Captain.
Should we assume? Sam for a cleanup?
Nice hit! Cycle back to industrial Spain!
Everyone all right?
Can you hear me, Captain? I have successfully integrated myself into the Hope's comm systems, and am attempting to establish contact with the Hope's. I see you've located the stasis chambers. Which pod were you slowly in for so long, Captain? The missing one, I take it? That's the Hope's computer up ahead. I'll admit, I am curious to wake him. Greetings, Captain. I am speaking to you through the Hope's computer system. Probably not, but don't let that stop you. Searching. Please stand by. Are you sure? That is extremely dangerous. And also potentially kill an entire planet. Jump-starting the skip drive. Destination set to the rings of Terra 2. I wouldn't advise that, Captain.
Well, it's been a good life.
Admitting a deficit.
ADA. Does your captain seriously intend to do a micro-jump in system with engines that haven't been powered in 7...
That is what my captain intends.
But that is a gross misuse of the skip drive.
Yes, I am.
You should not be doing this.
Thank you, Hope. It looks like all systems are go. Captain, I would advise you to hold on to something. Now. Oh, good. We are still alive and have successfully skipped into Terra 2's orbit. I reported as much to Phineas Wells, but he has not responded. Perhaps you should check in on him.
Analyzing area. Fallen debris. And spilled contents detected. Likely cause...
These were the private quarters of the Hope's former crew. Shall we hold a moment of silence for the dearly departed? No? That's odd, because my programming would indicate that when forced to confront the idea of self-death, organics prefer... Oh, I see. Yes, never mind.
I don't recognize you. Oh, hell. No one informed me of any surprises. Of course. Don't make more paperwork for me, all right?
Hold it. Something about... Yeah? You're not contagious. I don't want to know. Just stay back. Don't make more paperwork for me, all right?
Easy does it.
Captain, I am receiving a Captain, I shall now play the transmission I received from Dr. Wells.
The board is here. They've found me somehow. They're about to blast my door open. I can't stop them from getting me, and there isn't enough time to explain everything. But there's something very important you need to remember. The board, all their lackeys, they're all a bunch of swine. Do you hear me? They're fucking corporate swine. You fucking pigs! I'll take you all out with me! I'll never...
It would seem the recording captured some rather dire events. How can I be of assistance? Take care. I require a functioning captain to run the ship. We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Nicely done.
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Captain, as it appears we may soon be embarking for a maximum security prison planet, I believe the crew would like to speak with you to, as you humans put it,
Those board goons kidnapped Mr. Phineas and hauled him away to Tartarus. How are we gonna get him out?
And here we are, entertaining the notion of busting him out.
To extract the scientist, you will need to infiltrate the labyrinth. But that course of action is likely to be quite dangerous, Captain.
Let me put it this way. The labyrinth ain't got walls to keep prisoners in. It's got walls to keep the rest of the planet out.
But since no one ever makes it out,
The armed surveillance protocols on a maximum security prison planet are highly sophisticated. As such, escapes are historically quite impossible and deadly. I am programmed to warn you whenever you exhibit inclinations toward risk.
Getting in is the simple part. It's getting out again that's the trouble.
Let's just do it. Kick down some doors, grab Doc Wells, and cut a path out.
If you really mean to do this, you should see to your final affairs and close out any unfinished business.
it's the craziest plan I've ever heard. And I mean that as a
You didn't hire me to think. And I ain't about to start now.
I think it's insane. But maybe the colony needs a healthy dose of insanity right about now.
I know it's dangerous. And I won't lie and say I'm not scared out of my wits.
You're asking for more than bravery from us, Captain.
Let Sam get the grime out.
The entire plan is a terrible idea, but I admire your bravado, Captain.
If we don't make it, at least it'll be a great story.
Got my trusty tossball stick, got my ass-kicking boots. I'm ready, boss.
Outstanding.
You can count on us, Captain.
Never thought I'd volunteer to break into a prison.
Command not recognized.
pleased to inform you that we have arrived at the labyrinth. Please be advised that the punishment for trespassing is execution. Please be advised that electrical storms on the surface of Tartarus make departure impossible at this time. Resident count is as follows. The interior can be chilly. Take a scarf with you, Captain. I would also ask that you leave your captain's ID with me, in the event that you do not return. Understood. If you die or are incarcerated for life, I can generate a new ID for the next captain. Oh, speak of the devil.
Attention, unauthorized spacecraft. This is a maximum security installation. You are hereby confined to your docking platform until a ticket detailing your crimes has been filed and notarized, at which point your vessel will be seized and you will be executed. I'm sorry, you people? Did you just cast a generalization on upstanding UDL employees? That's a fine of 200 bits. You're up to 5,708, not including the cost of your execution and the disposal of your remains, which will be assessed posthumously. We're on lockdown. We have standing orders to shoot intruders on sight. Tartarus Docking Authority signing up. Hang on. Looks like you're gonna have company at the execution. Wait, is that from the Groundbreaker?
Transmission. How can I... Goodbye.
The captain did right by us once. What? Now it's our turn. The board will... Groundbreaker. Not while I breathe. Push on, Mardet.
Congratulations, customer. Your SAM unit is performing at peak capacity. maintenance. Muting volume now. Preparing to neutralize.
Can't let you take all the glory here, bounty hunter. Assessment. The Labyrinth on Tartarus. Task classification, easy peasy.
Entering the labyrinth's the easy part. Making it back out. I'm still trusting your plan on that one, Captain. I suppose it would be too late to back out now, huh? Fear not, Captain. I'll watch your back.
On the job. One order of frickin' fan coming up. Job classification. Flawlessly finished. Detected! News, customer. All germs and contaminants have been neutralized.
Investigating.
Never anger a man of the cloth.
Sterling is this unit's middle name. Never lay down on the floor. that?
Here we go.
Showered with prejudice. This area has been sanitized. Time to take out the trash.
That's one down. Your life was merely an illusion anyway.
Object is doomed to be spatulous.
Nice hit! done for. Everyone all right? Here they come. May you find peace in death.
Sanitization incoming.
I'm working as fast as I can, all right? Is that a joke? Whatever. I need to fix this before I get in trouble, so forced pacification system. If the prisoners riot, we gas them. Anyway, I need... Of course. Well, we don't always get... Whoa! Take a step back, lady. The password is tartar sauce. One word.
Entering quiet mode.
Let's go, troops. Stellar base counting on us.
We got a fight on our hands. Take your confession now!
done. We're still alive.
Yeah, that's how we fucking do it. Ha! Gonna sell your shit for beer money.
Hey, Cap.
Fight dirty! Clean up the competition!
Our victory is there. I've had quite enough of you!
Substance is resistant to cleaning efforts. Unit's performance evaluation is sterling. Time to take out the trash.
Good hit! Watch out, Captain! Nice! May you find peace in death!
Sterling is this unit's middle name.
Well, look who it is. I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and the convicts, the vicar.
Oh, I would go anywhere to see you fall, sir.
And, oh, I had heard you were dragging around a repurposed janitorial mechanical?
Interactive database updated. The unique organic substance labeled Chairman has been classified as filth, imminent for incineration.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. I'm not in your way, you dullard. You... Besides, I don't know what you think you're doing here, but Sophia's doing good work up there with Phineas. Oh, the look on your face, but that's between us. Oh yes, go on, wake them. I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but let me ask you something, Captain.
I believe we could ask you the same.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. If I and my people can ride it out in luxury and happiness, yes, I would. You are a captain of action. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone to sell the rest of the board on your plan.
All right, MSI. I'm not one for rousing speeches, but the captain needs our help. So, get in there and fight!
Waste of company ammo. Our victory is their defeat.
What? Open fire! Take him down! Right. Waste some company ammo.
Congratulations, customer. Your SAM unit is performing at peak capacity.
will be over quickly. Everyone all right? Everything in my life has been leading up to this point. I believe I am ready for this.
Difficult job ahead? Consider equipping a pack of Sam's special...
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. Typical. Running your mouth in the middle of a crisis. I should have dealt with you a long time. Leaving you alive was my greatest mistake. I have Dr. Wells in my custody. Once I've secured his cooperation, I can move forward with the program. I'm aware of your propensity for violence. I take no pleasure in this, you know. Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain. If you insist, this prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. And don't worry.
Please deposit your entrails into an appropriate waste receptacle.
I'll take your confession now!
Object is tuned to be spatulous.
We're not getting through!
I won't
Resuming passive mode.
Get me out of here!
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved, and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind, and I can't begin to thank you enough. Ah, all in a day's work for you, huh? You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. But there's still so much we have yet to accomplish. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid the situation is far worse than any of us ever anticipated. I would like nothing more than to celebrate this victory, but we have a serious problem on our hand. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years. There's been no communication, no signals, nothing. 2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth. We don't know what they discovered when they arrived, or if they arrived at all.
Earth is only an idea to us. But that idea is the bedrock the colony is built upon.
I don't want to imagine what'll happen once news gets out. We're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose. Yes, sir. I don't know what happened, but something must have gone horribly wrong. I don't know why Earth's gone silent. I don't even know if Earth exists anymore. We have no connection back to Earth, and return is likely impossible. We're completely alone out here. I heard it from Akande herself. She tried to pressure me into joining her side, you see. She was half right. We are alone, and we're going to have to fend for ourselves, because... You might have heard of the Earth Directorate's frigate. Half the colony's entire military was on that ship. They were returning to Earth when they vanished without a trace. That was 2 years ago. We haven't heard a word from them since. Yes, Akande mentioned as much. Akande had kept the truth to herself, perhaps with good reason. I wasn't trying to hide the truth from you, but yes, I experimented on the Hope's colonists. Each of my experiments ended. You are my first and only success. I didn't tell you about the others because I didn't want to burden you. Thank you. Perhaps in time I'll learn to forgive myself. My apologies. I need to get a hold of myself. If you have any more questions, ask me. Yes, we do. You've done a marvelous thing. You've succeeded where anyone else would have failed. And we must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then we're going to fix this damn colony, one problem at a time. We're going to need a leader, and I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend? Will you help us? The chairman? I don't know why you let that heartless creature live. but I'll have to trust your judgment. You're the best thing to ever happen to Halcyon. We're not a colony any longer, are we? Our future is uncertain, and no one knows what tomorrow holds. Exciting, isn't it?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment she landed in Emerald Vale, her actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to repair. Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation, but most of them found a way to carry on. In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. Between MSI's worker-centric policies and the iconoclast's manpower, Sanjar and Zora were able to rally many of the Terra 2 townships to their cause. MSI's workforce swelled, and the iconoclasts enjoyed a significant surge in their ranks. The board was too distracted by infighting and internal politics to stop MSI from becoming a powerful corporation and a refuge for townships that might have fallen through the cracks. Consumed by paranoia, Lilia Hagen took Sublight Salvage in a controversial direction, openly accusing board officials of an extraterrestrial conspiracy. One day, an accident at the Groundbreaker's docking bay silenced her forever. Time would tell if her replacement could keep the Sublight family together. Adelaide McDevitt replaced Reed Thompson as the leader of Edgewater. She and her followers transformed Edgewater in their image. Anyone loyal to Reed was pressured into leaving town, and those who stayed behind adapted to her way of life. Adelaide transformed the old cannery into a new garden. The nearby Edgewater Cemetery provided a convenient source of fertilizer. As for Reed Thompson, it was said that he lasted exactly 2 days outside the walls of Edgewater. Years later, a marauder was found in possession of his hat. Under the leadership of Junlei Tennyson, the Groundbreaker held firm against corporate influence. The ship's mechanical stability gave Junlei the time to educate a promising generation of engineers schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the Groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to surrender the luxuries they'd grown accustomed to, the board's diminished authority gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was a dark time indeed. Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective. She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady income from the life insurance payouts, she was finally able to afford a ship of her own. She hired a small crew and flew supply missions to communities on the fringe. Some of them were even legal. Life in Halcyon was sobering for Felix Millstone. The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony. Felix never had a head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix realized that the work of a revolution was done with two hands. As much as he enjoyed his adventures aboard the Unreliable, the vicar, known as Max, eventually decided that it was time to move on, to live out the life he had sought so long to create. He knew there were many in the colony who carried burdens much worse than the ones he had struggled with, and he devoted himself to easing their suffering wherever he could. He only ever took up arms again to defend the defenseless. Unshackled from a lifetime of striving and fighting the universe and himself, Vicar Maximilian de Soto was finally at peace. Once the matter with the Hope colonists was resolved, Junlei bashfully asked Parvati if she'd like to join her permanently on the Groundbreaker, and Parvati enthusiastically, if somewhat awkwardly, agreed. The stories of her adventures spread across the colony, and Parvati soon found herself the center of attention. Having served as the engineer of a renowned spacecraft, tramp freighters and wildcat miners sought her out by name, and in no time, she was a fixture in the Groundbreaker's mechanical ecosystem. She and Junlei were never far apart. Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself. She formed the Charon Group, a mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide, or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories, could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation. The SAM unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM unit sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor. Once it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon manage the crisis before it. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. He eventually came to terms with his own past and was able to forgive the mistakes of his younger self by devoting his remaining years to serving the colony. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the Ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. In the end, Dr. Wells was able to save every scientist and engineer aboard the Hope. Over the next decade, nearly all of the Hope's remaining colonists were successfully revived. Halcyon saw a period of rapid technological and scientific advancement. Breakthroughs in dietary supplements saved the colony from starvation. Geoengineering projects and social reforms began to change the structure and character of the colony. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Today, Halcyon has stabilized. The people of the colony work hard to adapt to their new circumstances. Nearby colonies send aid and supplies. Life will never be easy in Halcyon, but for the first time in its history, there exists a sense of real, genuine hope about the future. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? You brought an end to the riot on Tartarus and partnered with Chairman Rockwell to run the colony together. As Halcyon looked toward the future, you remained a constant presence in the colony's administration. You were never weighed down by bureaucracy, and you never had to dirty your hands with politics. You had people who did that for you. By your influence, Halcyon survived the turbulent years that were to follow. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this. The name of the Unreliable and that of its intrepid captain will remain the subject of countless stories for years to come.